Mrs. Overman and Miss Wu went golfing. Before each shot, Miss Wu would quietly say 24. Mrs. Overman asked, "Why are you saying 24? She replied, "I've got a sore throat, so I can't yell 4. Get it? 4 with an exclamation mark is 4 factorial, also known as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, or 24. So 24 without an exclamation mark, which is not yelled. Anyways, this joke will make more sense to you after we learn about permutations and arrangements. So let's go ahead and look at the number of ways you can arrange the 4 letters in Word. So what I'm going to do is look, there are 4 letters I can choose to start with, W, O, R, and D. And if I pick W, I could do W-O, W-R, or W-D. Then I have 2 choices for the next letter, R or D. And finally, that leaves me with 1 choice for the last letter. So you can see, if I picked W for the next choice, I have 3 choices for the next letter. And for the next letter after that, I have 2, and then I have 1. 3 times 2 times 1 is 6, and that gave me the 6 words that started with W. But I can also do this with O. I will have O, W, R, D, so I have 3, then 2, then 1. And if you look, if I pick with R, I have 3 choices for the next letter, then it goes down to 2, and then it goes down to 1. And finally, the same thing for D. So since I have 4 of these, I really have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, or 24 different ways I can arrange the letters in Word. So there's actually a shortcut for doing this math. We call it Factorials, and that's where we say the number, positive integer, with an exclamation mark. So when you see a number with an exclamation mark, that doesn't mean I have to shout it. It just means it's a factorial, which is a special product of the integer and all the positive integers before it. As I said before, 4 factorials, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is the same as 24. No exclamation mark on the 24. 9 factorial is 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And so you could guess that this would be kind of a pain to enter in on your calculator. But your calculator has a nice shortcut in the probability section of it. So how do we do factorials on a calculator? We're going to enter the number, then we're going to press math and move over to the probability section. Then I'm going to press 4, and in here I'm going to show you pressing 4, and it goes really quick. Or I'm going to enter an arrow down twice to the exclamation mark, which means factorial, and press enter twice. All right, so let me go ahead and show you how to do it. So I'm going to put in 9, hit math, move over to this PRB, and then hit 4 for factorial and hit enter. And that's it. So it's a great shortcut instead of having to go 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, so this is great when I'm using everything I have to choose from. So if I'm arranging 9 things and there's 9 to choose from, that's great. But what if I'm not using all of them? So how many ways can I arrange 10 letters when I have 15 different letters to choose from? Well, the first letter I'm going to have 15 letters to choose from, then 14, then 13, then 12. Will I get all the way down to 1? Well, no, I actually won't, because I stop on the 10th letter. So I'm not going to use 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. But there's not a button for this per se on the calculator, at least not as you know it. So how do we do this so we can use some buttons on our calculator? Well, initially what we did is we said, hey, you know what? If I put times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, then I can do 15 factorial. But then I changed the number. But what if I divide it also by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Wouldn't that still be the same number? And both of these I can put in my calculator as 15 factorial over 5 factorial, which happens to be a very big number. So just to practice again, here's how you enter it on your calculator. You do the 15, math, move over to probability, then pick 4, and that adds the exclamation mark. Divide by 5, then hit math, and then move over to PRB and hit Factorial and enter. All right, and right now your calculator has only so many spots on it, which is why you see that E, that's called scientific notation. So once you start getting much bigger than a billion, your calculator says, there's not enough room. I need to do scientific notation, and that's what you're seeing there. So the number of ways you can arrange something, we call that permutations. That's when order matters, when you can do A, B, C is different than C, B, A. And we definitely know there's a difference between a CBA and an ABC. So permutations are the number of ways you can arrange n items when you choose to use r of them. So in the example we did, n is like 15 and r is like 10. And the permutation formula is npr equals n factorial over n minus r factorial. But the nice part, on your calculator, there's a shortcut so you don't even have to do factorial divided by factorial. First of all, you're going to press a number n, then press math like we did before, nprb. But instead of hitting the factorial button this next time, we're just going to press 2 to choose npr. You can also arrow down and hit enter. And then we are going to put the number. So let me show you how that looks. So you're going to put the number after you press a 2, npr is going to show, and you put in the r. So start with n, math, PRB, 2, r, and then enter. So here we go. I'm putting in 15, math, move over to PRB. Then you can see the 2 choice. So I'm going to go ahead and come down to 2. And then hit, I'm choosing 10 of them. So I'm going to hit 10 and hit enter. And I get exactly the same answer. So in this next example, how many different numbers can you create from the number 987,654,321? Well, let's look at how many digits I have to choose from. How many do I have to choose from? I picked this on purpose, so I have 9 different digits to choose from. So n is 9. That's the important thing to figure out. We're going to pick 5 of those digits, so r is 5. We'll be calculating 9p5. So that's how we write it. We say how many we have to choose from, how many we're going to take, and we're going to do permutations, which is when order matters, because 321 is definitely different from 123. So if I wrote a check to you for 123, but I was supposed to write a check to you for 321, you would definitely notice a difference. So we're doing permutations when order matters, n factorial over n minus 5 factorial. I could say, well, n minus 5 is 4, and say, oh, I could put that in my calculator and get 15,120. But the other thing I can do is I can just use the NPR function. And so I'm going to hit math. Well, first of all, put in the 9 for n, then hit math, move over to PRB. There's NPR choice 2. And then put in the 5 and then hit enter. And I get the same answer. So hopefully you're noticing the calculations can be very easy on this unit because of the probability functions built into your calculator. So for further reflection, what do we learn about? What is this 4 times 3 times 2 times 1? Well, that's a factorial. And it's a great way when you're trying to order 5 things. If you rearrange everything, factorials are great. But sometimes you're not using everything. And, well, technically a factorial can be a permutation. But a permutation is to arrange the things, whether you're using all of them or just some of them. However many you're choosing is r, however many you have to choose from is n, and you always start with the total you have to choose from, then the amount that you're going to choose. So the bigger number is always going to go in front on NPR. And it's helpful to know what is the shortcut to enter permutations in your calculator. It's in the probability section. You hit math and probability, and it's choice 2.